pet parents of Regina, or wherever you might be. It is Olivia and Carly. Miss Ella is out racing horses this weekend, so she's not with us for Furry Friday. But we decided today that we are going to take you...
Just let it be. It's just doing its
thing. Okay. As you guys know, we now go live on both Facebook and TikTok, so if you see us bouncing back and forth, that's what we're doing. But we decided today what we would do is we would take you on a virtual store tour. So you could see not only what we have in store, but also why we have it. So we're going to tell you the story about all of the things that we have. And of course the CIO is here working on a Friday. He's not happy about it. He needs a spa day. He's got his 90s rocker hair or 80s rocker hair going on. So, okay, we're going to start with, can we see?
You can move it a little bit.
Looky.
Slowly going.
I don't want to make anybody feel, or maybe we should just grab the things.
We could do that too. We could just start grabbing.
Okay. I'm going to put the monster down. And I'm going to start with the first food that we have. You want to grab a freeze try?
I could do this. Yeah,
broth?
I'll grab some of this.
So you guys know that we love our open farm. Open farm is actually the only kibble that we sell in store. Open farm, what we love about open farm, they are completely transparent. I'm going to show you guys something now. I know this is going to be backwards. However, every single food that you buy out there, doesn't matter what kind it is, this is not unique to open farm, but every single food out there has a lot number. What we love about this is when you flip your open farm bag around and you pull up this lot number or take a look at this lot number, if you go onto Open Farm's website, punch in that lot number and it's going to tell you where every single ingredient comes from. This is key, you guys, because we don't want to see ingredients that are coming from China. This is no offense to China, but China doesn't have the same standards when it comes to pet food as other countries. Yeah. Oftentimes too, when manufacturers are looking for products overseas in China and that kind of stuff, that's a way to cut corners, reduce costs, and we're not getting the quality in the bag. So Open Farm is very transparent in that respect. Open Farm is, as we always say, we always want you to look for a nutrient-dense, protein-rich, low-carb food. Open Farm checks off all of those boxes, you guys. The reason we want to feed a nutrient-dense, protein-rich, low-carb food is their bodies, the dogs and cats that eat this food, use more of the food and less waste is in your backyard. You also feed a heck of a lot less when you're feeding a premium food because their bodies use more of the food and there's less filler, less waste in the backyard.
Yeah.
Olivia also has a couple other products.
I have a couple other Open Farm products. These aren't all of them, but these are just ones that are quick in hand. So most of the stuff that I am holding is dog related, but they do have cat as well. So Carly is grabbing their cat tetras, and then they also have a cat kibble as well. Same thing for the cat kibble with the lot number on the back. You can trace where every single ingredient came from, and I'm pretty sure that's the same thing for throughout their whole brand. Next thing, we got some Dehydrated Treats. These aren't a single ingredient treat, but it's all good ingredients, right? So it's really, really important that we understand and know what's exactly in our bag, whether that be treats, fruit, whatever, doesn't matter. So there's that. Then, like Carly showed you, the cat tetras. This is a stew just for a dog. Just your basic stew, same type of thing. This one is chicken and salmon, but they have multiple different proteins, multiple dual proteins in the same box. So there's those, really, really great as a meal topper.
So this is Open Farm's version of wet food, right?
Yes.
Canned food, you guys. What's really key for you guys when you're looking at wet food, you do not want to see that the first ingredient in your wet food is water sufficient for processing. It sounds innocent, and it is, but when that's the first ingredient in your canned or wet food, that means you're paying for a can of water. These stews, you guys, if I was to open this stew, if you could smell it,
They're so good.
you would ask for a spoon. They smell like stews that we would eat. So we love that. The dogs love that. This is, and again, wet food doesn't have to be the entire diet. You're going to see as we go through the store, we are all about creating a buffet in a bowl. We are all about you guys becoming those mad scientists, getting a variety of food options in the bowl with not both, never mind what I said, both. With brands, types, supplements. We want to rotate and diversify that diet as much as possible. We don't want to eat the same things every day, and neither do they. There's tons of health benefits. We can get into that on another TikTok, on another live, about why we want to diversify the diet, but feeding the same thing day in, day out. We knew this was going to happen. Feeding the same thing every day, day in, day out, same protein, same type of food. We don't want to do that. We want to diversify the diet. So, Olivia also grabbed Open Farm's freeze dried. So this is a freeze dried raw food. Again, where's my lot number? Oh, there we go. Lot number right here. We can go on to Open Farm's website. We can punch in that lot code and we can see where every single ingredient comes from. One of the things that Open Farm does is they only work with GAP certified farmers. So essentially what that means is the humane and ethical treatment of animals. This is very important to Open Farm. Open Farm, the owners are pet parents just like we are, right? And they noticed that there wasn't that quality food out there that they felt good about feeding. This is where their story started, is they wanted to feed their animals quality, high protein, nutrient dense, low carb foods, and they wanted humane, ethical treatment of animals. So Open Farm is a Canadian company, but they do manufacture in the States as well as New Zealand because they only work with GAP certified farmers. We don't have the GAP certified farmers in Canada, and if they can't find a GAP certified farm, then they don't work with them. So this is another important thing for Open Farm. All right, you guys. Next on our, you can kind of see it. I'm going to grab it. We have got the Honest Kitchen. Honest Kitchen is one of the very few pet food companies in the world that actually is human grade certified. They literally applied and were granted human food certification standards. When they did that, that meant that they had to change all of their packaging to be human grade compliant. So the exact same way that the farmers and the grocery stores and everybody goes, sorry, not the farmers, the same way that the grocery stores go and work with farmers to get our meats and our produce, and the way that they transport and handle those raw materials is the exact same thing that happens at Honest Kitchen. They are human grade certified, meaning they have to follow human grade certification standards in everything, from how they transport raw materials to how they create their food and how they package it. So that's why they had to change everything. Honest Kitchen, their original recipe was their original recipe was in a powder form. It's a dehydrated food, okay? So these are their clusters. You guys can see that. It gives us that same scoop and go convenience that kibble does, but it is not kibble. It is a dehydrated whole food. Their original recipe was like a powder, pardon me, that you mix with water. And then when it's mixed and ready to serve, it kind of has the consistency of like porridge. Pet parents loved the food, pets loved the food, but they said, we just don't want to make it anymore. And Honest Kitchen came out with clusters. This was almost 2 years in the making. Every single engineer that they spoke with to say, this is what we need to do with our food in order to make it into this type of convenient serve, they were told by engineer after engineer after engineer, can't happen, won't happen, you'll never find a facility. They finally, after about 24 different engineers, they finally found an engineer that said, it can be done, but you need to make the facility, and they did. So they are now in the process of making their second facility because there is such a demand for clusters. So again, not a kibble. This is a dehydrated food. Almost all of Open Farm's products are dehydrated. They have...
Honest Kitchen.
Sorry, what did I say?
Open.
Oh, sorry you guys, I'm stuck. Honest Kitchen. Honest Kitchen has a dehydrated, they have dehydrated goat's milk, dehydrated bone broths. They do have stews as well and pâtés. Go ahead, Olivia.
Okay, so I grabbed a couple things here. So like we talked about, Open Farm has their stews. It's kind of like that wet food in a can. Honest Kitchen does just kind of different varieties, I guess, if you want to call it. If you want it more like stew, if you want it more pâté, if you want it a little bit more runny with more broth, but you still want a little bit of meat. So this is just an example of the stew. And then we have the pâtés, all in different proteins, stuff like that, complete and balanced. And then this is just something like a bone broth pour over, but I'm not sure if you guys can hear this when I shake it. This one, lots of liquid, right? There's way more liquid in this one because it's a pour over. This one, there's little to none liquid in it. So there's that. And then we also have this one as well. This one is more meat than liquid, right? So 100%, it's pretty much all meat. And then we have the dehydrated bone broth. This you just have to mix with water. You get lots of bang for your buck. And then they also have it in a turkey for bone broth, and they have it in goat's milk as well.
Honest Kitchen also makes a variety of tasty treats. I'm not going to make Olivia eat this again on camera, but we have tried the cookies. Oh, you guys, these are goat's milk cookies, but they're all human grade, right? So there is no issue with the. I keep saying if the apocalypse comes, we're safe because we've got all human grade stuff. But they've got, so their goat's milk cookies come in three different flavors. There's the peanut butter and honey, there's pumpkin, and there's blueberry.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of different dehydrated fish treats. They also have the
Parmesan pecks.
the bone broth bites, which we've got in Parmesan, in chicken, in beef.
The bone broth bites are different from the Parmesan pecks, though.
I don't know
There's
these
so
things.
many. Honest Kitchen treats are one of my favorite by far.
They definitely have a ton of treats. Okay, I'm gonna put these back. We're moving on.
Okay, we're moving on. So that is kind of the first two sections. Kind of over. We're getting closer down the line now. So this is carnivore. Carnivore is known for if you're feeding a raw diet and you're going on a vacation and you can't store raw at all, this is what you want to feed. So what they do is it's kind of similar to a freeze-dried food, but it's also a baked food. So they bake it for 3.5 minutes and then it's air-dried raw for the rest. So it's technically an air-dried raw food, which is super, super similar to freeze-dried raw. What we love about them is not only the convenience of it looking like a kibble, but it isn't, of the scoop and go, but it also has the carnivore Florivore sprouted seeds. This is an amazing pre and probiotic that they put in every single bag of their food.
It's how they actually preserve the food. So one of the really cool things about carnivore, when you look at a bag of kibble, you're going to look through your ingredients and you will eventually come to salt. You may have seen our previous TikTok that was about the great salt divider. The reason it's important to find salt in a dry food is because salt cannot make up more than 1% of the bag. Unless it's a prescription diet, you guys, and then all the rules go out the window. However, your traditional non-prescription foods, salt can only be 1% of the bag. We want to find salt in the ingredient list because we also want to see that all of our fruits and veggies that are added to the food come before salt. Because ingredients are listed in order of size from the largest to the smallest, salt can only be 1%. That tells us anything listed after salt is less than 1% of the bag. So you find the salt, you look for your fruits and veggies, you want to find them before because that actually means that we're getting some nourishment from those fruits and veggies. If they're after salt, if they're at the end of your ingredient list, there's not even, you'd be lucky if there's a blueberry in the whole bag, okay? When you look at carnivore's ingredients, salt is the second to third last ingredient. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Olivia's going to try to show you.
It's the second little chunk. I know it's backwards, but salt is right there, somewhere in here.
Second to third last ingredient is salt. That means, this is why they refer to carnivore as a whole food air baked cluster. Because we are getting, we could eat this food, you guys. We could absolutely take the bone out and we could eat this food. It's a whole food air baked cluster because we are getting all of the nourishment, all of the nutrition comes from the food, not from an add-on or a premix or sprayed on fats. It's all coming from the food. Then they preserve their food. They don't use a lot of your premium kibbles are going to use natural preservatives like a rosemary extract, a vitamin E, a vitamin C, those kinds of things. Carnivore preserves their foods with their ground organic sprouted seeds. Not only is this a fantastic prebiotic, probiotic, it is an amazing source of fiber. So little Zainerman was having some tummy troubles. I learned a bunch of things along the way when he was having his tummy troubles. Yorkies and miniature schnauzers specifically, their pancreases are not optimized to process a completely raw diet unless you are including a really good source of fiber. And I thought the organic vegetables would be my really good source of fiber. It wasn't enough for him. I started putting this in his food, you guys. In 2 days, I had a completely different dog on my hand, full of energy, bright, back to himself. I couldn't keep up to him on walks. Smoothie season is almost upon us here where we are.
We can take this as well.
100%. It's going in my smoothies.
She does it all the time. I've debated it, so.
Yeah, it's going in the smoothies.
So then, of course, what is something that dogs want every single day? Treats, right? So they came out with that same pre and probiotic, just made into a treat form. So that way, if you still want to give a little bit extra of this, you can as well. And like Carly mentioned, and she showed that bag of the probiotic. Sorry, I was blanking. You can get them in a smaller portion or that bigger bag, so that if you want to add it to your current food, say you want to feed open farm, but you want to add that pre and probiotic, you totally can.
All right, next, going down our aisle. Well, maybe we have a couple aisles, you guys, but we're a small boutique. This is Smack. Again, Canadian made. Oh, I should back up. Carnivore is also Canadian made food. Honest Kitchen is American made. Smack is Canadian made. Smack is a dehydrated raw food. The thing we love the most about Smack, you guys, aside from it being Canadian, just kidding. We don't say that.
We don't.
For any of our American viewers, that was the hosers that came up with. Anyways. It is also the only 5-star dehydrated raw food made in Canada. It is made in the province right next to us in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We are in Regina, Saskatchewan. Check out these ingredients, you guys. And I'm going to, again, I know this is backwards. I know it's small. You probably can't see it. But here we go. That's it. All whole foods that we would eat, you guys, for the most part. I'm going to read this because it is that quick. Pork organs, pumpkin, kale, apple, celery, blueberry, cranberry, turmeric, tocopherols. That's to preserve the food. It's a very clean deck. It can make up the entire diet because it is a complete and balanced dehydrated raw food, but it can also just be a portion of the diet. Zainer, he's being tormented by people outside. Olivia has another Smack recipe.
And also, people, when I tell you this is a fan favorite, this is such a hit. We have customers coming back saying they should call this crack instead of Smack because it is that good. So you can use this. Actually, lots of our customers use this just as like treats. So this is also like another great option. This is a dehydrated raw. So
Smack right now currently comes in 5 different options. It comes in the pork, which is what I showed you. It comes in the rockfish. It comes in salmon, and it comes in 2 different chicken options: chunky chicken and very berry chicken. But yes, it's they could have called it crack. They decided on Smack. The doggies love it. Yeah. It also is available for cats, but we love it that it's such a clean, short ingredient deck. Yeah. It is whole food. So again, this bag. Because a lot of people look at Smack and go, holy, that is not a cheap food. Here's the beauty of it. We're feeding whole foods. We feed a heck of a lot less. My little guy Zainer would eat this bag for 100 days. 100 days, you guys. I'm feeding him for $1 a day. I know not everybody has a 5-pound dog, But this is a 5-pound bag, and he would eat it for 100 days. So he's eating it for more than 3 months. And it's not going bad, so we don't have to worry about
And
that.
I guess we should back up a second. I see one of the questions really quick, but it's a good thing to add to all of them. Open Farm is grain-free. Most of our...
All of our stuff
well,
is.
all now of
Yeah.
our Honest Kitchen is grain-free. Carnivore would be grain-free as well.
Yeah.
This is grain-free.
Yeah. Open Farm has an ancient grains recipe. The reason that we don't carry the ancient grains recipe in store, again, we'll take you quick when we've told you all the stories. We'll whip you through so you can see that we are a small boutique, and so it really comes down to space, and we had to be very particular with regards to how do we use the real estate. Open Farm does have an ancient grains recipe. However, that is not formulated for dogs over 70 pounds with puppies, right? So we went with grain-free because that is formulated for dogs of all sizes and all breeds.
Yeah.
So it came down to space. And at the end of the day, too, for me personally, I know there's a lot of folks out there that think you need grains because of all of the DCM nonsense. This is really happening more in the States than any other country. And it's funny that it's only happening in the States. If it was an issue, it would be happening worldwide. But the information that was provided on the blog by Lisa Freeman, who is a vet on Purina's payroll, you guys, she wrote a blog about the harm that grain-free food does to animals. It has been disproven time and time and time again by scientists and veterinarians who are not on Purina's payroll making a grain-inclusive food. DCM has really been more linked back to a lack of taurine. Taurine is an amino acid that can only be found in protein. And if we take our scientists and our veterinary hats off, do we think that our ancestral dogs ever ate grains? They're carnivores. They were meant to eat meat. So the fact that we're saying if you take grains out of their diet, they're going to get heart issues, it couldn't be farther from the truth. They were never intended to eat grains.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're going to get into a big grain debate. Oh my goodness, I should write a book, The Great Grain Debate.
You should.
No, I'm not. All right, you guys, next on the roster here is Primal. Primal is a freeze-dried raw. This is Primal's freeze-dried raw version. Primal also makes a raw food that we'll show you back in the freezers. Primal is an American company. We will go back and address the questions, you guys. I did see somebody asking about Stella and Chewy's. The reason that we opted for Primal over Stella and Chewy's is because Primal uses natural vitamins where Stella and Chewy's uses synthetic vitamins. Synthetic vitamins are just a lot harder for the body to absorb, so we went with natural vitamins.
Exactly. So we have multiple different proteins. They come in the 5.5 ounce. They come in the 14.5 ounce. Or sorry, just the 14 ounce. They also have lots of freezer stuff, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
And this is, so Primal, again, this is going to be tough to see on the picture. I'm going to come in really close here. If you've never seen Primal, they're freeze-dried. You can see with Open Farm, it's kind of in they call them morsels.
Yeah, they're just like little circles, square circles, if that makes sense.
A little bit bigger than a piece of kibble. Primal's freeze-dries, I always describe them as they kind of look like a squished egg. So they're nuggets. But again, a Zahner guy, 5 pounds, he eats 2 nuggets a day. That's what that would be it. So if he's getting breakfast and supper, he's getting 1 nugget in the morning, 1 nugget in the evening. It's important for us to mention too that if you are feeding a freeze-dried raw diet as the whole diet, you want to rehydrate the food. Yeah. If we are just topping, we always want to see additional hydration added to a dry diet regardless of what you're feeding. But if you're only feeding freeze-dried, we must rehydrate the food to reconstitute everything that it has been freeze-dried. If we're just topping, we don't have to add moisture, but we're always going to encourage you to add additional hydration and moisture to the bowl. All right.
Those. And these are one of the pet parents, or I guess even the dogs. These are one of the favorites. So Primal has an array of treats. These are just the ones that we bring in most of the time because At first, people look at them and are like, I don't know. They don't really draw my attention, but once the dogs try them, they are hooked. So these are always a favorite. Primal Treats are always really, really great because I believe all of them are single ingredient for the most part.
Yep.
Yeah, so most of them are single ingredient, and I think these are they baked?
They're probably dehydrated.
Or dehydrated.
Yeah.
Oh, these ones are dry roasted, sorry.
Oh, there we go.
They have different, what do you call that? Different cooking processes for some of the treats, so.
And
that.
we should mention too that all of the foods that we've talked about in store, we have them for both dog and cat with one exception. We don't have the Honest Kitchen cat food. They do make a cat food. They've just come out with a new formula. So we are looking at bringing in those. And to be perfectly honest, you guys, for the most part, we probably have about a 90-10 split with our dog pet parents to our cat pet parents. So we do have some amazing kitty customers. We just have a ton times more doggy customers. Ooh, yes, wet food. Wet food, you guys, so critical for kitties. Very, very critical. We have a TikTok coming out on why, if your furry family includes kitties, you always, always, always want to include wet food every day. It's not just a treat. We want it every day. So stay tuned for that TikTok.
Yeah. So these are just some examples of what we carry for cat food. So I do have 2 of the Tiki Cat. FF has 2 different types of recipes now, I believe. This is their Oh My Gravy. We carry. This is their Oh My Gravy, and then they just have a regular one that's just in broth. And then since Honest Kitchen came out with a whole bunch of cat stuff, this is just from their newer line. This is just the mince version. They have it in pate, and I think they have more like a stew-like one as well. But these are all really, really great, different proteins. And like Carly mentioned before, with the water sufficient for processing, we want to make sure that that isn't in the ingredients list.
That it's not the first ingredient.
Yes.
It's okay to have water in the food because it's required. We just don't want to see water sufficient for processing as the first ingredient in any canned or wet food, because that means that you are literally paying for a can of water.
Yeah.
You guys. So, okay, are we going to, how about, you guys, we've got, I'm going to give Olivia, or I'm going to flip you guys around. Oh, Olivia has left me.
I'm putting it away.
Hang on. I'm going to flip you around. I don't know how to flip there. I don't know how to flip on the TikTok. Oh, look at that. All right, you guys. So now we're going to do a tour. When you come in, you will see our bone table, which is usually, we always, oh, hang on a second here.
We're having technical difficulties.
Technical
Sorry.
difficulties.
I'm trying to flip it.
Oh, just a second, you guys. Stand by, stand by. I'm going to go through, I will look at some of the questions from Facebook.
I wonder if we can't once it's live.
We should be able to. Catherine says, I can't wait to see you expand your store here to where I live near Temiskaming Shores. I can't even say that, Catherine. Oh, that's all we have. Okay, well, you're just going to have to flip your camera around and make sure that...
I guess you guys are going to be looking at me for most of it, too.
Or you can do this. You can go...
Yes,
wonk.
that's true. But
there we
I don't know
go.
where I am,
so Olivia's just going to have to watch. Yeah. So, you guys, this is our bone table. Usually, we decorate this, obviously, for the season that is upon us. So, next up is spring and Mother's Day. And so we just showed you all of the food. There's Olivia. So there's all of our food. Okay, are you coming, TikTok?
Yeah, I'll show them.
Uh-oh. All right.
Oh, this is going to be...
This is, yeah, so you guys bear with me here. Okay. I'm going to also show you, we've got some more open farm. We've got our clothing and and there's Olivia again. Our clothing, our harnesses. We've got some of our winter coats. Depending on where you are, you might think that's crazy, but in Saskatchewan, when we get minus 50s, we've got our chew station. I'm going to back up, you guys, making sure that we're seeing this on TikTok. We've got our treats. We've got a bunch of different treats for all the furry guys. I'm going to show you, we've got our chew station. It is important that we're always doing natural chews. Never, never, never rawhide. Stay tuned for that. TikTok as well. We've got our fireplace and consultation area. We have got, now this is some stuff for us because these are the candles, room sprays and waxy melts, but these are all pet friendly. Very important if we're going to be burning candles. We've got all of our messy mutts. We've got Zahnerman. We've got our shampoos, our grooming section. I'm going to quickly take you around here. There's our Bible, you guys. Every single different type of pet food. Am I in there?
You are in there.
Perfect.
I just wanted to make sure.
Every different single type of pet food in the world can fit into one of those categories, and there is a reason why we only sell certain types. We've got some more toys. We've got dental chews. We've got our kitty treats. We've got our supplements. You guys know how much we love supplements. All right, and then we've got more supplements, our tag machine, more toys, interactive toys, more supplements, the Forever Dog book, and last but not least, we have got our freezers.
Should we go through it kind of one by one like we did?
Yeah, absolutely. So how about Olivia's?
Counter? Or should we? We can put it on the counter and then.
Okay, hang on a second, you guys. We're going to rearrange again.
We're rearranging.
Okay.
Let's see if this will work.
So we're going to set you up on the counter.
Let's see, is
Them
this...
side by side.
There we go. I think we got it.
There we go.
Okay, we're good.
All right, you guys. So Olivia's going to start. She's going to... You saw the Primal freeze dried. This is the Primal raw. So in the freezer means it's raw food. Means that when we take it home, it stays in the freezer because it is frozen raw food. These are Primals Toppers. So this is not a complete and balanced meal. This is literally just something that we would add to the bowl when we're saying, be that mad scientist, build the buffet in the bowl, put lots of different things, whether it's different brands, different types, different supplements. This is an option. This is their complete and balanced raw food. We don't have to add anything. We are always going to recommend that you do add things.
So there's that.
Okay, and then...
Did we show the front freezer yet? No, we didn't yet.
Okay, this is Open Farms Gently Cooked. So gently cooked is not raw, you guys, but it is not cooked the way we would cook food to eat it ourselves. So gently cooked is essentially, and it comes in 4 different flavors right now. It comes in beef, chicken, turkey, and surf and turf. Surf and turf is beef and salmon. Essentially what they do is Open Farm makes up the mixture, they package it, and they sous vide it. So that means that they cook it in hot water. So it is gently cooked, extremely flavorful, and the furry guys love it. This we normally recommend, again, as part of the diet. You could make it the whole diet. It is complete and balanced, but it's probably a bit of an expensive option to make it your whole diet. Special suppers, right? Do we have family suppers on Sunday nights? Yes, we do. So we can add some Open Farm Gently Cooked to our pups' dinner, and they get a special Sunday supper with the family, or do it 2 or 3 times a week. Any fresh whole foods we're getting in the bowl as many times a week as we can is beneficial.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that. Sticking with Open Farm, we're now getting into their milks. So this is an example of their kefir. This is their cow milk kefir. They also have a goat milk kefir, and then they just have regular flavored goat's milks as well, which I believe is calming, digestive, and antioxidant. These are really, really great options. Same kind of thing for an everyday meal. Just as a topper, if you're doing that primal freeze-dried, if you're doing a freeze-dried diet, rehydrate with something like this. You can do that as well. Moving to a little bit of a different spectrum, these are locally made. So this stuff is called, well, it's by the lady, her name is That Dog Mom Bakes. Chelsea from there, she's in Moose Jaw, so she is local to us. and she makes this. So this is just a little bit of like a birthday cupcake, and then these are her frozen paws. She usually cycles through different flavors with the frozen paws, and it's all natural made, so it's 100% safe for them. And yeah, all the flukes love them. So
it is a huge hit in the summer, you guys. We cannot keep the frozen paws in stock in the summer. Next, complete and balanced raw food that we have is the Bold by Nature. I know it's backwards, you guys. The reason that I have 2 boxes here is their original recipe. I didn't think this through. Their original recipe is the Bold by Nature Select. This is meat and tripe. They came out with Mega, which is same company, but what they did is they replaced the tripe with organic vegetables. 2 reasons: to make it affordable for people with big dogs and to make it affordable for multi-dog households. So you can do a combination of them. The Mega boxes, which are the big ones, they come in 24-pound boxes as well as the 4-pound boxes. Select only comes in a 4-pound box. Because it is just meat and tripe, it is a bit more of an expensive option, but it doesn't mean that it can't be a portion of the meal. Again, frozen comes in frozen patties. When we take frozen food out of the fridge or out of the freezer, we don't want it in the fridge for any more than 3 days. So you can thaw 3 days in a row, and then you're going to take out your next 3-day worth of meals on the 3rd day so that you always have fresh food in the fridge.
yeah. Okay, so we're kind of getting down to the end of it for these freezers. Next, so this is one of our newer brands. We just have their topper stuff, I guess you could call it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the quail eggs. So these are just plain old frozen quail eggs. These are really, really good for somebody Zaner size if you want to get eggs into the bowl, but you can't do a duck egg or a chicken egg because those are way too high in calories for somebody their size. These are a really, really great way. And then we also have frozen sardines. So these are just really, really great for toppers as well. So many health benefits, like so many health benefits.
Sardines definitely pack a punch, you guys. Sardines can help with so many things. They are whole foods, right? If you think about it, nature made that food, we're gonna eat it. It is whole food. But sardines are always my go-to for pet parents who come in and their dog has epilepsy or is suffering with seizures. Sardines is something that we can get in that there are benefits to sardines that will actually help reduce seizing pets. So that's huge. Back to the front freezers we go, you guys. Come with us. Come with us. We'll show you, yeah, a little bit more. Oh, there's the monkey man. And yes, Cooper. All right, back to the front freezers. What we've got. Are we doing a setup again?
Let's do a little bit of a setup.
There we go. All right, we've got you back here. Ish.
It works.
Ish. There we go. Olivia's gonna grab the things. So Primal has a goat's milk as well as a bone broth. We've got plain goat milk flavored goat's milk, or they also have 4 different flavored goat's milk. So they've got blueberry, they've got a green smoothie, they've got cranberry, and they've got pumpkin. Mm-hmm. And then they've got 4 different flavors of bone broth. So they've got pork, turkey, chicken, and beef.
Yeah. Open Farm also has already made up packets of bone broth. We just forgot to show it. But those are a really, really great go-to for the pet parents that don't want to do the dehydrated version but just want something quick and don't have to thaw it out. That's a great option.
These are super easy ways to get. I'm going to close Olivia in the freezer.
Yeah, do it.
These are super easy ways to get fresh foods in the bowl. Again, these are by Primal. They are their toppers. This is the Power Greens. It is like a green smoothie for us, you guys, but it's an easy, easy way to get fresh foods in your dish. They also have it in their awesome squash. This is a winter squash. It's kind of like pumpkin, but on steroids. So if we're looking for fiber, if we're looking for a good source of fiber, pumpkin is always it. Winter squash, just a little bit amped up. And then finally, the Omega Mussels. Where's my front here? There we go. So this is just a blend of mussels. This is amazing for joint health, but again, getting that fresh whole food in the dish. These can be used with cats and dogs.
Yeah. And the last thing, before we freeze our fingers off, is raw meaty bones and stuff like that. So what I'm going to show you first is these are just your regular beef marrow bones. These are really, really great, not only as just like a regular treat, but for cleaning the teeth as well. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. So at least you can see it now. Yeah, this is just a simple pack. This one is by Primal, but we also have bones from Bold by Nature, which I'm going to show you as well. Then for a little bit of differentiation, I guess if you want to call it, instead of just a regular bone, you could do something like these are chicken feet, or you could do chicken necks as well, or we have duck necks. They're just bigger than chicken necks.
Turkey necks.
Or turkey necks,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
So,
And tripsicles.
tripsicles.
Chicken feet, chicken neck, turkey neck. These are all really great natural sources of glucosamine. So again, for joint health, when we're chewing, as I say we as dogs and cats, when we're chewing on the feet and the necks, really great ways for getting that additional natural source of glucosamine.
I think that was it.
That was pretty
We
much okay.
covered it all.
So now we could probably, we're going to put you back up there. That was the easiest, I think, you guys. And then we can go through some of your questions.
There's lots coming through, so
And
we're
I didn't,
ready to answer.
Olivia's going to fix that one.
It's a lot of moving around today, so sorry guys, we gotta adjust it.
Oh boy, bear with me. What am I doing? Is that working? We're kind of crooked. Jason's asking, can puppies eat feet and necks or too hard on their baby teeth? No. Jason, they can absolutely eat. What we want to be very aware of, sorry Facebook,
We're kind of slanted.
crooked. What we want to make sure when we're feeding bones or feet or necks is that we are getting an appropriate size for the animal. Now you also, this is until the dog or cat, because a lot of people don't associate cats eating bones, but absolutely they do. But what we want to make sure is that we're getting the appropriate size, and it is going to be a supervised chew initially until our little furry guy figures out exactly what we do. The first time I gave Zaner a chicken neck, he did chew on the first half, which was great, and then he swallowed the second half because he thought somebody was going to come take it from him. And then he immediately threw it up, thank goodness, because it probably wouldn't feel great coming out the other end. Yeah. So it's just that he had never had that before, and he didn't know what it was all about. So he's like, I've got to eat this all before somebody takes it from me.
Yeah.
So it's just something that we want to watch.
While we're on the topic of that, somebody asked, what is a tripsicle?
So a tripsicle is literally, so tripe is actually the inside layer of the cow's stomach. It's extremely nutritious. Which is why Bold by Nature puts it in their food. It provides tons of nutrients, and a tripsicle is literally just that inside stomach lining that is frozen into a tripsicle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first comment is, I just changed my puppy to raw, was shocked to realize what was in my kibble. That is always a super shocking realization when you kind of figure out. Obviously, raw is the best way that you could go, but just everything in general, their well-being, their poops in the backyard, everything, 100% better.
It is, a raw diet is the most biologically appropriate diet that we can feed, right? Kibble is the most processed option that we can feed. So that is why we are adamant about the types or the only kibble that we sell being a premium brand. When it's traditional grocery store kibble, just your regular run-of-the-mill kibble that we can pick up anywhere, there could be very questionable ingredients. Not only that, it is probably going to be very high in carbs. Average traditional kibble is about 50 to 70% carbs. Mm-hmm. Our dogs and cats have no biological requirement for carbs. When they eat carbs, those carbs metabolize into sugar. Sugar is what feeds disease. So the more we can reduce or eliminate those carbs entirely, the better it is for them.
Yeah. We'll hop back over to Facebook. Somebody was asking regarding the frozen sardines, how much would a 5-pound dog have weekly with those?
So we actually have a blog, because I can't remember off the top of my head, and because we're using the phones, I can't look right now. But we have a blog post on sardines. So if you go to our website, at the bottom of every page, you can find our blog. It's called Beyond the Bowl. We've listed the serving sizes for sardines for every size dog and cat, so you can take a look there.
Yeah. Somebody on TikTok was saying Open Farm is great and the brand is great, but the high carbs turn me off.
You know what? Good point. Which is a great question, because traditional kibble at 50 to 70% carbs, Open Farm actually comes in at 38% carbs. So though it is significantly higher than our dogs and cats would consume if they were left to their own devices in the wild, it is a heck of a lot less than what we see in traditional kibbles.
Right.
What Olivia's showing you here is the difference. This is for a 50-pound dog on traditional kibble. This is a 50-pound dog on Open Farm. It's half of what we would feed on traditional kibble because we are getting rid of those carbs. It's a protein-rich, nutrient-dense food. It usually means we feed about 30 to 50% less than what we feed on traditional kibble.
Yeah.
So Acana is a Champion brand. Champion is a good food. Acana has two levels. Pardon me, Champion has two levels. Acana is their low end. Origin is their high end. They are both good foods. What we have found in our research is that Origin specifically, I haven't looked at Acana, Origin specifically costs about 3 times what it costs to feed Open Farm. So you're getting the same quality ingredients, you're getting a lower price point with Open Farm, and Open Farm has never had a recall where Champion has had one. So in my mind, that kind of makes Open Farm the winner. And you guys, I did this research before I brought food into my store. I didn't pick a food and then try to justify why I love it. I loved it before I brought it into my store, and that's why I brought it in.
And also the transparency in Open Farm. We could ask Open Farm anything about any of our products, and they will tell us the exact and correct answer.
Yeah.
So they're super open and willing to do all of that. So. We answered some of them.
Okay.
We did that one. We did that one. So there. It would be that one.
On new veggie-based food. Oh. Okay, so somebody's asking us our thoughts on new veggie-based foods. I cringe every time I see a vegan or vegetarian option for carnivores. Our dogs and cats are not carnivores. If we decide to live a vegan or a vegetarian lifestyle, we cannot impose our beliefs on a biological carnivore. So, I know that vegetarian and vegan foods exist. The only time that I would be recommending a vegan food, vegetarian, no, never. I would never if there's not some sort of a non-plant protein in that food, I'm never recommending it. We need, if there are some vegan foods out there, and there are some more vegan foods coming. I know sustainability is a big thing. This is why so many manufacturers are looking at insect-based protein foods. If you have an animal that has a bazillion allergies, and it seems that every single protein out there will set them off, then let's look at some insect-based vegan food, which is, I mean, it's borderline vegan. It's not an animal, it's an insect. But vegetarian, no. Adding fresh veggies and fruits to the bowl, yes. Making it the entire diet, no. Not a recommendation we would make.
So there's 2 questions from Catherine on Facebook. That's the first one, and there's another one as well.
Okay. What about the bones in the necks and the feet? Are they not dangerous? No. Raw bones are perfectly safe for our animals. Cooked bones is what we are always going to avoid. We are never ever going to feed a cooked bone or a steamed bone or a basted bone, or I don't care what they call it. As soon as heat has been applied to that bone, it becomes brittle, and not only can that cause shards that we can swallow and then we can hurt ourselves, but because the bone becomes more brittle, when the animal is chewing on it, if they're chewing on a brittle bone and they smack down because they've got major jaw pressure, that's how fractures can happen. So raw bones are safe. making sure that they're size appropriate for your animal. Cooked bones, what were they called? Anyways, anytime heat is applied to the bone, no, then they're not safe.
Okay, will you be bringing in the new stuff from the trade show later?
Yeah. So we did find some cool things. We're just doing our research. As you guys know, we don't bring anything in before we research it. And we do a heck of a lot of research to make sure that it meets our standards. Part of our whole thing is that we want you as pet parents to know without a shadow of a doubt that you can walk into our store and grab anything off of our shelves or out of our freezers, and it will be safe and beneficial for your animal. So we researched before we went to the show some of the new things that were coming that we wanted to take a look at. We then chatted with them at the show to get additional information. Now we are continuing to do our research, and you know what? I'm so thankful that we do this, because as I was doing this research and something looked really good before I got to the show, it looked good at the show, I started asking questions and I went, no, it's one thing, and then I won't bring it in. And that may seem harsh, but in my own opinion, I feel like as retailers, if we do not continue to have these products to buy, no consumer will buy them, the demand starts to lessen, and we elevate the pet industry. And that is the purpose. So so we're doing our research. That was a really long answer, but we're doing our research. What food do you recommend for medium-large dogs that won't break the bank? So, our recommendation, if you're wanting to feed a dry diet, our recommendation for kibble is always going to be Open Farm. If we were going dry, but we want that raw alternative food, we can go with carnivore. If we're looking that could break the bank, because this is never something, we always want to find the most, the healthiest, best option for your pets that is within your budget. We always want to be respectful of everybody's budget. What we recommend, because I don't know what break the bank means, that could be different for everybody, right? Some person that might mean like I can't spend more than $100 or $400 or $900 a month, and some pet parents may say I cannot spend more than $3,000. So I don't know what break the bank means to everybody, because it could be different. But what we recommend is if we are wanting to respect the budget, which of course we do, you can look at combinations. Just like we were saying before, build that buffet, right? You don't have to pick a food and stick with it. Here's my analogy, you guys. If we are currently feeding a traditional kibble that we get from the grocery store or we get from the big box stores, that is like us eating McDonald's every day, 7 days a week. It's affordable and it fills us up. It may not necessarily be that nutritious for us.
Yeah.
But if we decide as a human being, okay, 6 days a week I will eat at McDonald's, but 1 day a week I'm going to home cook and I'm going to make a healthy meal for myself. Even just doing that 1 day a week, I have improved my diet. If I can now go, okay, 2 days a week I'm going to home cook, and 5 days a week I'll eat at McDonald's, I again have slightly improved my diet. If I can go to 3 days or 4 days. So the point I'm trying to make is with our dogs, we can do the same thing. If we are feeding that traditional... Sorry, you guys. If we're feeding that traditional grocery store diet, but we improve our diet even once, twice, or 3 times a week by adding those fresh whole foods, we're making an improvement. If we want to look at, okay, I'm going to do half of my grocery store kibble and half of a premium brand like an Open Farm or a carnivore, and we mix that, that's improving the diet, right? Because we're reducing those carbs, we're getting more of a nutrient-rich, protein-rich diet into the little furry bellies. Hopefully that was helpful. Sorry, you guys, I'm just looking through the questions. So we just did that one. I so enjoy listening to you guys. Oh, thank you. Where's Zainer? He is here. You can hear him. Is it not grain-free? I think that was when we talked about... So all of our foods are grain-free. We used to... We used to stock some of the grain inclusive or whole grain Honest Kitchen original recipes, but as of now, all of our food is grain free. I was told not to feed grain free unless your dog is allergic to grains, but I don't agree with that. We don't either. Grain free, in my opinion, is more of a natural choice. Interesting, my vet told us to avoid grain free. They also promote ProPlan. They will. So in a vet's office, for the most part, there are some that are branching out, but for the most part, in our traditional mainstream vets, the food you're going to see is Royal Canin, Hill Science, and Purina, sometimes Iams. So there's a couple things about this, you guys. Mars Pet Care, which is who manufactures Royal Canin, they own 2,500 plus veterinary clinics in the States. Royal Canin and Hill Science are typically the guys that provide the training to our vets on nutrition. It lasts about a day, and it's very focused on this food fixes this problem, this food fixes that problem. We are going to dive deeper into prescription foods because I could go on for this about forever, you guys. We have a bit of a funny TikTok that's coming out that talks about prescription foods that a lot of folks don't know. Your vet is always going to tell you to avoid grain-free because their foods all include grains, as in corn, wheat, barley. So that's why they're saying, and remember, Lisa Freeman, the vet, I shouldn't say vet, the vet that works for Purina, Purina's all grain inclusive foods, corn, wheat, barley, and it was her blog that said don't feed grain-free foods. You got to remember where her paycheck, where she gets her bread buttered, right? Okay, I heard supplementing taurine, chicken heart in dogs' diets helps break down legumes in grain-free kibble. Yes, adding taurine to the diet is never a bad thing. When you're feeding a complete and balanced premium food, the taurine will be there. So it's not necessarily necessary, but it is never a bad thing because chicken heart is just a fresh option into the bowl. You may notice, again, if you have kitties in your house, dog food does not have added taurine. Cat food does have added taurine. The reason is there are 22 amino acids that our dogs and cats require to thrive. Dogs manufacture 12 of those themselves, but they rely on animal proteins for the other 10. Kitties manufacture 11 of those essential amino acids. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Maggie sent us a rose. Thank you, Maggie. Kitties manufacture 11 of those themselves. Taurine isn't one of them. So that's why we need to add taurine into kitties' foods. Can you tell me about Ultra? It's a Canadian brand dog food. I am not familiar with, Ultra. I've never heard of Ultra. What we can do, again, on our website, at the bottom of every page, you're going to see a link that says, what grade is my kibble? You can click on there. It is just an easy walkthrough. It looks intimidating, you guys. It's not. I just like pictures. But you can go through there. You flip your bag over and you basically go through the steps. You're going to assign a grade to your kibble. We only ever want to feed a grade A if we're feeding kibble because B's and C's might have cut it in high school, but they do not cut it when we're talking about feeding the furry guys. So grade your kibble with our easy using grading tool, and then you can actually figure out if Ultra is a good one. Primal also has a freezer whole diet as well, right? Yes, and we showed that. What cat food would you recommend, like your number one fave? So dry is always going to be open farm or carnivore, but there's a caveat with this. With kitties, kitties are obligate carnivores. A lot of pet parents who have kitties say, oh, we just give them wet food as a treat every once in a while. Wet food needs to be every day, you guys. Couple reasons. Again, you're going to see our TikTok coming out, but I'm just going to quickly cover this. Kitties require, dogs and cats, but dogs are more, they drink more. Cats, unlike every other mammal on the face of the planet, they do not have that thirst sensation that says, I'm thirsty, I must drink. they rely on their diet. When we're feeding nothing but a dry diet, they are only getting... We're only getting 10% moisture in a dry food. Kitties, puppies, dogs, cats, they require 70% moisture. So we want to include wet food in the diet every day. And so then again, you're going to look for a high quality premium canned food that does not have water sufficient for processing as the first ingredient, because you know if that's what it is, you're paying for a can of water. Can I ask why Carrie Raruva BFF but not cats in the kitchen? It's just, honestly, we should have showed you the space. It really comes down to, we do mix it up sometimes. It's not that we don't like cats in the kitchen. It's just that it comes down to space. And we kind of have, the cat customers that we have kind of have the specific flavors that they like. What type of brush would you recommend for a woolly husky mix? We like our, what are they called?
I'll go get them.
I can't remember what they're called. They are super, they're kind of a grooming brush combined with a slicker tool. I use a slicker on my little guy. He loves it. But these ones are, Olivia is, what's the name of it?
These ones are
This is bad, you
Safari by Coastal.
Right.
So this is just for the long-haired ones, but there are short-haired ones as well. It's just that the little, I don't know what you would call those,
Those are the little teeth.
teeth,
Yeah.
they're just a little bit longer and bigger compared to the short-haired ones.
But now, what do they call this? They call it Shed Magic. So, if you guys have seen Rue, you may have seen her on some of our lives. Rue hates being brushed, but she loves this brush. She falls asleep. One of our other customers who has a border collie, he was shedding a lot. She sent me the picture after she brushed him with it. And he doesn't like being brushed either, but he loved it. She said he was begging for more brushing. The floor, like she did it on a towel, covered in fur. So they're fantastic. When do we get to find out what's behind the covered freezer? We are stoked. Oh, you just wait. That's coming next month. So we've got a brand new food coming in. That's why we've got our sign that says something fresh is coming soon. So you guys hold on to your socks. Do you recommend fresh pet dog food? We do not. And I'll tell you why. Anything that can last, that is fresh, that can last for 6 months in your fridge, how many preservatives are in that food? That is not natural. Because if I went to the grocery store and bought fresh food for me, it is not lasting in my fridge for 6 months, right? We go buy meat, we want to cook it within a day or two of getting it, or we want to freeze it. The fact that this stuff can sit in the fridge for 6 months is not fresh. It's not natural. Big Country Raw. Big Country Raw is not a complete and balanced food. So Thrive is their supplement. If you are feeding Big Country Raw, you must get Thrive, which is their supplement to add to the food to make it complete and balanced. So that would be the first reason why not Big Country Raw. They also they make a competing brand for big box. They're not friendly to independent retailers because they make a competing food for big box, which they sell to them for less money, and they can sell it for less than we do. But regardless, it's the whole not being balanced that I don't like about it. Is there a specific way that you recommend we reduce food when adding toppers? I usually do 80-20. That's awesome.
That's perfect.
Yeah, you can do 20 to 25% of the diet as fresh and whole. So when we are first starting to incorporate new options into the bowl, if we've never done this before, if the dog has eaten the same food for months or years on end, and now we're going to start incorporating more fresh whole foods, little by little, right? Just gradual introductions. We don't want to upset the tummy, and adding just a little bit. Like Zaner gets something different every meal. He eats twice a day. He gets different proteins. He gets different options. But he's been doing this for a while, so I can throw that at him. This is my analogy, you guys. If you and I ate nothing but chicken and broccoli for the next 6 months, and then we sat down in month 7 to eat steak, it would hurt. So we need to gradually introduce new options to the bowl. For kitty parents out there, kitties can take up to 6 months, sometimes longer, to move them from a high carb diet, which is lots of sugar. They start to develop almost a sugar addiction. They can take a heck of a lot longer to transition to a more healthy diet. And the way that I describe this is, it's kind of like me telling you, you can never have chocolate again. Next time you want chocolate, I'm going to give you celery. You will protest. The kitties will do the same thing. So kitties, we need to gradually introduce healthy, fresh, good foods because they will protest and we need them to eat. So little by little by little, it can take up to 6 months. Doggies usually about 7 days. Can you tell me more about the plaque off chews? They are, oh, there we go. Look at, oh, Lydia's
I'm ready.
You go ahead then.
Okay, so I brought one for example. I would assume you would have seen this through the tour, but if you didn't catch it, these are the plaque off chews. So these are the mini version of the bones, but they also have the bigger versions as well. We brought these in because obviously lots of people used to use greenies. Greenies were great then, but they're not so great anymore.
Well, I don't even know if they were
Well,
great then.
everybody thought that they were. Before anybody knew anything about pet nutrition, those were the hit, right? So this is a way, way better option for the ingredients to be way, way better. We can actually understand what's in the bag, and we know that it's good stuff in there. And same thing, it just helps fight oral health. So
We also love that in the plaque off, they actually incorporate seaweed into the product, which is really good for helping get rid of plaque and tartar.
yeah.
What is a good limited ingredient novel protein food for cats? Well, it's not that novel, but limited ingredient smack, for sure. Primal does do, I think they still do quail and venison for cats. I know there is a book you recommend. What is that book? It's The Forever Dog by Dr. Becker and Rodney Habib. And my doctor gave advanced atopic kibble to my dogs because they are allergic, but they are mini and we only got half the question. Okay, well, we'll find the rest. 2 Yorkie and 80 pounds golden doodle, open food 24/7. Will they know to eat less for better food?
Open farm, I think they're
No,
talking.
I think open food, like as in free feeding. I think that's what that
okay.
means. So here's the whole thing with free feeding versus scheduled feedings. Free feedings, we can definitely eat more. Obviously, think of us at a buffet versus cooking for yourself at home or going to a restaurant. So free feeding has a little bit of drawbacks. A lot of pet parents will say, well, I free feed because they like to graze. Grazing is not instinctual for our animals. That is not the way they operate. In their world, you eat when food is there because you don't know when food is coming again, even if they get fed every day at 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. The other thing, you'd be better off to move to a feeding window. And we've got a TikTok about this coming too. Not a feeding time, a feeding window. For those pet parents out there who are using feeding times specifically, you probably have a little guy who throws up bile if you miss that time. This is why feeding windows will work better for you. I am all over the place. Thoughts on Benny Bullies? I am not familiar with Benny Bullies.
Mostly the second part of this question I think we can answer because we already went through the first part.
Thoughts on a canna? I am nervous about how little the serving size is for my chihuahuas. Do not be nervous. It's because there's no filler. In fact, Primal, these guys, have made a lot of progress with vets. A lot of progress with regards to the quality of their food. Remember, well, if you were with us at the beginning here when I said that he would eat 2 nuggets a day. Primal's old feeding guidelines, and you guys remember, a feeding guideline on a bag is just that. It is just a guideline. We still have to go by the animal. That bag has no idea how active Zaner is, how much he likes to surf the couch. We need to go by the animal. So the guideline is just that. Primal was making a lot of headway with vets with regards to the food, and the vets going, maybe it's not such a bad thing to have a less processed meal option. What they were concerned about was the amount that Primal said to feed, and Primal said, this is because we don't have the filler. This is because it's a very protein-rich, nutrient-dense food. The animal's body uses all of the stuff that we put in the bowl versus only using a portion of it. They couldn't get this across, and finally they said, okay, fine, we'll change our feeding guidelines. But as a retailer, when I saw this change, I reached out and I said, what the heck happened? And they explained it to me, and they said, continue to tell your customers the old feeding guidelines, because if that makes sense and their dog was eating and they're not overweight, not underweight, we stick with that. So we always tell them about the old feeding guidelines. Is there a difference between a lightly cooked versus gently cooked, or same thing? They're pretty much the same thing. Yeah, it's just not thoroughly cooked. What's on Origin's new grain inclusive line? I haven't even looked at it, so I can't give you any researched education there. I've seen your dogs, Papillon and Jack Russell and Chihuahua mix. They have been eating the same food. And then we got a rose from Maggie. I don't get that. How do you feel about Origin? So we kind of covered that already. And sorry, for folks on TikTok, because of course when a live is done on TikTok, it's gone. We do also go live on Facebook, and then we post our lives all onto YouTube. So you can either find our lives if you missed that part. You can
keep going.
You can pop onto our Facebook page, or you can pop onto our YouTube channel, and you can always watch all of our previous lives. Love your video so far. Thank you. Are chicken eggs as good as quail eggs? Yes, eggs. Eggs are eggs. Eggs are nature's food. It is a whole food. It is made by nature. We can eat the things. You want to look at calories for the eggs depending on the size of your animal. A duck egg would feed Zaner for 2 days. A chicken egg would feed him for a day. A quail egg is a good little treat. Have you heard of the brand Savage Cat? It's raw cat food. I have not heard of that one.
Somebody was asking for me to hold up this brush again.
Oh, okay.
Because they must have missed it, so I'll just hold it up here. You can screenshot it. We'll go to the next question. Somebody said as well as Origin wet food.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at Origin's wet food. Hold that brush up again. Brush.
Is Healthy Paws raw, complete, and balanced?
I've never heard of Healthy Paws either. That's something we'd have to... if you're in the States, we don't have all the same options that you guys have in the States. So, you guys have a lot of great options in the States, and I wish that we could get it. It's a little bit trickier when it comes to raw. So we always have to get a distributor involved who will then purchase all of the raw food from the manufacturers in the States, house it here in their freezers, and then be able to ship it to us. What do you think of Avatoderm?
Sorry.
Avatoderm dog. I have never heard of that one. Whimsies are the same as Greenies. They've got a really long ingredient list. We like, when we're looking at dental chews, natural chews are our first go-to, but if people want that dental chew, we wanted to find one that was limited ingredients, not a list as long as your arm. Forever Dog is the best book. It totally is. It's the Bible of pet ownership. Thoughts on dried turkey necks for a chew treat? If they had the bone, I would be leery, because, well, if it's dried...
If it's freeze-dried, it would probably just be
If it's
the
freeze-dried, yeah, that'd be okay. I would say if there's any heat involved, then I would say no.
But it probably wouldn't last very long, I would assume. Like, it would be more of like a quick chew.
Oh,
especially if it was freeze-dried.
If it's freeze-dried, it's not necessarily a chew. Naturals for both dogs. I'm not familiar with that. What are your thoughts on Blue Buffalo Wilderness? We stay away from Blue Buffalo. We are doing a Beyond the Bag on Blue Buffalo, so stay tuned for that. But Blue Buffalo, if you Google Blue Buffalo lawsuits, you will see why we stay away from Blue Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For Shih Tzu, what do you recommend? We recommend the same regardless of breed. We want to, if we're feeding dry, protein-rich, nutrient-dense, low-carb. Those are the things you're looking for. I have a Yorkie, and he's so picky he would not eat Primal. Stinker. If you're in Canada, look for Smack or try a different freeze-dried. And I say this because in Canada, we kind of have two main milk manufacturers. There's Dairyland and there's Beatrice. And I love milk, you guys. I could be a milkaholic, but not if it's Beatrice. So he might just not like the brand.
Yeah.
Canadian simple ingredient dog treat, beef liver with blueberry apple pumpkin. That sounds awesome.
For Benny's Bullies.
Oh, is that? Oh, Benny's Bullies are Canadian simple ingredient dog treat, beef liver with blueberry apple pumpkin. Yeah, that sounds good. Have you heard of Go Solutions? Yes, they use a couple controversial ingredients.
Healthy Paws is apparently made in Ontario.
Oh, cool. I'll have to look at that. I don't know.
Is a balanced diet apparently.
Is a full balanced diet? Cool. I'll take a look at that.
Farmer's Dog.
Farmer's Dog, we can't get it in Canada. Farmer's Dog is going to do amazing things with their new nutritionist on site, so stay tuned for lots of good things coming from them. Origin versus Farmina. I would pick Origin. Farmina does use some controversial ingredients and one harmful, maybe not necessarily in all of their formulas, but the fact that they use it is, we looked at Farmina, we loved Farmina, and then when I did more research and I learned that they use some controversial and one harmful ingredient, they're not here. They're not in our store. Blue Buffalo is horrible. Well, I would agree. Taste of the Wild, no. Taste of the Wild, honestly, guys, take a look at our Grade My Kibble tool, because you can take a look there and you only want an A grade kibble. If it doesn't come up as a grade kibble, don't feed it.
Hello, Fluff and Tough. Fluff and Tough has joined us.
Oh, hello, Fluff and Tough. Thank you. I now feed Farmer's Dog on California.
They're in California, but they now are feeding
there we
Farmer's Dog.
I would Google Naturals. They got bought out a year ago and have gone down. Okay, that can happen. You heard of Veras? No, I haven't. Origin versus Farmina. Live in Norway. We don't have all the things in US or Canada. I would say Origin then. I manage a pet shop in Ontario and I love your videos. Thank you. That's awesome. You have to come make a road trip out to Saskatchewan. Any recommendations on high protein dry foods? I have an Alpha Blue Blood Bulldog. Our recommendation is always going to be Open Farm for a kibble, or carnivore if you're looking for dry food. Thoughts on wellness dry food? No, we looked at wellness. They have some controversial ingredients. Thanks. We currently feed Origin and Raw. Perfect. Love you guys. Thanks for all your info. It's so awesome to listen to like-minded people. We agree. We keep saying pet food is the new politics. What are the controversial ingredients in Go Solutions? That I do not know off the top of my head, but I can find them. We'll probably look at that as one of the beyond our bags, beyond the bag. What about Stella and Chewy puppy pads as primary food? Again, my thing with Stella and Chewy was that the reason we picked Primal over Stella's is because Stella's uses synthetic ingredients where Primal uses natural. The body has a harder time absorbing synthetic vitamins, so that's why we picked Primal.
Yeah.
How do you feed 85-pound without breaking the bank? Current Acana good rating. Acana is good. You know what I would do then is food out of your own fridge. You're going to eat your cucumbers and your carrots and your tomatoes and that kind of stuff in your salad. The ends that you would cut off that you wouldn't eat, those go in the bowl. You're having your bananas and berries in the morning, those go in the bowl. Anytime you can get fresh food added to the bowl, benefit. Hydration, get some goat's milk, get some bone broth, add that to the bowl, build that buffet. And hello from Austin, Texas. Hello. We are in Regina, Saskatchewan in Canada. I saw somebody ask where we are. Fresh Pat, we already went through that. So I want you can either look on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel to kind of see Fresh Pet, but that's a no-go, you guys. Nature's Logic, they have two different formulas. They have one that is meat-based and one that is meal-based, and I would only look at the meat-based Nature's Logic. Thank you, Holistic Select. I have heard of that, but I can't think I don't remember about Holistic
I
Select.
feel like we talked about it as a team one time, but
Maybe.
we talk about so many brands. It's
Bold by Nature we love. We carry Bold by Nature in our store, and we just took a look at that. Okay, holy cow, we got through all the questions. All right, you guys. So, for those of you who may have seen, I just got back from a trade show, a national trade show. I was out in BC for a couple days. So we found some cool things there that we are definitely going to continue to research. We also found another really cool thing. I'm so excited about this. You guys, we're just waiting to hear back from the manufacturer because, again, this is part of our research. We have to ask all of our questions, make sure that we're getting all of our questions answered before we bring it into you. We've got Mother's Day coming up.
Mother's Day is coming up.
Mother's Day, you guys, stay tuned. Stay tuned because we've got a little bit of a Mother's Day contest, promotion type
Something like
thing.
that.
Yeah, you guys stay tuned. And spring is coming.
Spring is finally here, I think.
That means very shortly, you guys, for those who are local to us, Pack Walk will be starting again. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't live near us, it's probably time to move close to us because we do pack walks, you guys. So Wednesday nights, weather providing, we go for a pack walk from the store. Lana says probably not. She's not going to live by us. Whatever. Too cool for school, I guess. Anyways, you guys, today is Friday. Our week's this is a little bit longer one. We thought it'd be quick.
But apparently it wasn't.
But it was not. But it was not. That's okay, you guys. Lana's saying no volume now, too. I bet you it's because the phone call came in.
Oh, because the phone call came in.
I bet you that's what happened. A phone call came in, so that's probably why. Okay, cool. Again, thank you guys for spending time with us. I say this all the time. We will see you next Furry Friday for our new TikTokers. We go live every Friday, and we try to bring you valuable information. We've got a bunch of things planned, some exciting stuff. We are here Monday to Saturday, 11 a.m. till 6 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you either in store or online next time. So thank you so much, you guys.
Bye, Lana.
And have a fantastic weekend.
See ya.
Bye-bye.